What's up? Welcome, guys, to Big Kid with Will Bryant. Honestly, probably Bar Talk with Will Bryant. Who am I kidding? Big Talk with Will Bryant. I don't know. I'll figure it out someday, I promise. Either way, I'm here. I'm back. And right off the bat, guys, I just got to come in. Mea culpa. Apologies. I am not feeling it. Not feeling it. And that's kind of why I decided that's what this episode should be about. Whatever you want to call it. I'm in a little bit of a funk right now, guys. It's going to be honest with it. If you heard last week's episode, you're probably not very surprised right now. Last week's episode was a little different. I feel like the tone was a little different. You guys out there could correct me if I'm wrong. I felt like the tone was a little bit different. Because it's not like I'm not always happy here. I'm sometimes I'm pissed or whatever, and I'm loud and I'm boisterous. Last week I don't think I was very it wasn't so much upset or angry as I was just kind of down and defeated and perhaps a little bit depressed. And I talked about how I felt like the situation I was in at work was hugely responsible for me feeling that way. For you guys, again, another apology is that I am shocker to you guys out there. I'm sick. Anyone that's been listening, I should have taken some nasal spray. I should go get it right now. Damn it. Anyone that's been listening to this podcast from when I started it knows that I get sick once a month. And they've been wondering why it's been more than a month that I've been sick. Well, wonder no longer. Here we go. I am sick. I hope you're happy. Either way, last week I talked about how last week's episode was about bouncers and bar fights and bouncers and crazy shit that's happened to me at the bar, and how I normally am supported by security and bouncers having my back, and that at my most recent spot of employment, that's not exactly the case. They took my bouncers away after 2 a.m. And after I told them that shit was getting weird, they said, "Oh, well, call the cops." Oh, well, call the cops. By the way, I love that my nose was not stuffed throughout the entire day. And then the moment I pressed record, this motherfucker decides to go all fucking brick wall on me. This nose already fucks with me by not letting me do any blow. And now it's fucking with me while I record a podcast. God damn my nose. All right. Focus, Will. Get your head in the game. I'm back. Yeah. I don't know. Something about what happened last week and my job's response to it has just put me in a fucking funk. And it's definitely like some. It's mostly on me. Like I know I work somewhere that doesn't really support me, but and trust me, like we'll talk about how I probably won't work there much longer in just a little bit. But once I don't, I will be naming names. Well, at least damn it. I want to name the establishment at least and my owner, but the thing is there's at least like 2 people that I like that still work there that I wouldn't want any bad shit to come down on. But whatever. I digress to what I'm talking about now. It put me in a funk. And I said last week that I started applying to other jobs immediately and got word back from one job. Well, by the time that I had posted the podcast, I got an an interview with a second spot. So I actually had 2 interviews the very next day that I posted or published that podcast episode. Of those 2 interviews, I liked one spot more than the other. One spot was in Brooklyn, one was in the city. The spot that I liked was in Brooklyn, but the spot that offered me a gig was in the city. I'm going in for training, for my first day of training at this new spot, later today, actually, in about a couple of hours. In fact, right after I record this, I'm just going to start getting ready and head into my first day of training at my new spot. Now, here's the thing. As soon as I walked into that spot, I didn't think I was going to love it. But I'm kind of in a situation where I'm so unhappy with my current spot. And they exposed me to so much undeserved anxiety that kind of threw me into this spiral of like depression for this past week or whatever. And honestly, saying that out loud makes I feel stupid. Saying that out loud, I feel weak. But part of me feels like I have to say it out loud. Because that's how I can kind of power through it. It pisses me off that I let my job get to me as much as it has gotten to me. But it has, man. It has. But you know what? It made me take action. I got a couple of interviews, and I'm already starting somewhere new today. Now, here's the thing. I didn't quit my old job. Reason being, I touched upon it just now. Even though I'm training at this new spot, I didn't get great vibes the moment I walked in. It felt busy, but I don't know. If your gut instincts matter for anything, mine are telling me that this is not a good fit. But I'm in a situation where I'm just so unhappy where I am right now that I feel like any movement, if it were lateral in any way, is better than no movement at all. Part of me just wants to be able to tell my manager and my owner, you know what, goodbye. You know, I just want to tell them this is my 2 weeks, or you know what, not even. I want to give my 2 weeks, but honestly, part of me wants to be like, fuck you, goodbye. I just don't want to be that coworker. part of me, like, taking this other job that I don't feel great about is me wanting to just tell my current job goodbye. I go in for training today and tomorrow at this new spot. And on Thursday, I go back to my old job. And I could theoretically give my 2-week notice at that point. But I'm not going to, I don't think. I don't know. Because I'm not sure if I'm going to like, I already don't think I'm going to like this new job. I'm just kind of okay with taking it because it means I get to leave my current job. But should I be deciding the next step of my future out of spite? I mean, all signs point to no, right? My rationale, the way I'm looking at it, is I've got a training session today and tomorrow. This is Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. This will probably go out Wednesday morning. And I'll probably have another 2 training sessions the next week. And then I'll probably start going live after that. The way I'm looking at it, which, by the way, I've absolutely not clued them into whatsoever, my new employer, that being, is that I'm taking these training sessions as a feeling out process. And if something doesn't feel right, I'm just going to back out. That's why I haven't quit my current job yet. Because there's something to be said about the devil you know versus the one that you don't. And although I don't like where I currently work right now, at least I know what I'm dealing with. Also, and unfortunately, I think I may have come to the point in my bartending career where I might have to adopt this kind of mercenary state of mind. I think I have to come to my senses. See, I'm starting to realize that I was really spoiled. Because the first 3 places that I ever worked were 3 amazing places with 3 groups of amazing coworkers. The first 2 being owned by the same person, so it made sense. I got my career in this industry started at the Forest Hill Station House. And to this day, I still think it's the best place that I've ever worked. And the staff there, I still love to this day. And the staff that isn't there anymore, that I still keep in touch with, I love to this day. And they opened up a second spot called the Historian. That's where I first got my real shot at bartending. Same owner, different bar, and kind of a different staff. And then a couple of people came over. That was a lot of fun too. And that was a good staff. And again, I still keep in touch with people from that bar. Still consider those people friends. Still consider myself in love with people that I worked with from that bar. And then the pandemic happened. And I was completely out of a job and my bar shut down. I mean, I worked at the Historian, and the Historian, I closed the Historian on the last day that it ever existed. And then the pandemic happened and quarantine happened and that place never opened up again. The last shift ever at the Historian was closed by yours truly. And I loved that place. And I loved who I worked with. And then years later, after the pandemic and the quarantine and all that, fucking shit happened. I was lucky enough that I got hired at the Diddy. And the funny thing is that I got hired somewhere else, and it was closer to here. It was walking distance to where I live right now, and I fucked that my first day up so bad. Like I got hired, and they wanted me to come in the next day, which was Wednesday, and they said come in Wednesday and start. And I was DJing a live quarantine session at the time that I got that email or text, whatever it was, that I thought they meant next Wednesday. Not realizing that Wednesday meant tomorrow. And I woke up the next day completely fucking drunk from drinking during this live fucking Instagram session of DJing at my boy Cisco's and Global Music's DJ station. That I did not go to my first day of work, and they never wanted me back. And instead of applying to jobs the next day, I fell in the bathroom and injured my ribs and was immobile for an entire month. I had to go to the hospital. We talked about that already. The first week that I felt like I was able to move around, I looked on Craigslist and applied to 3 jobs. One of them replied, it was a Diddy, and I worked there for about 2 years. That's some fucking weird luck, man, because the Diddy was... I never thought I was going to be able to work somewhere where I would love my coworkers and love my regulars as much as I did before. And then I worked at the Diddy, and I was like, wow. Bartending is awesome. Because everywhere I've bartended, I loved my coworkers, and I thought we've had pretty cool regulars. And then I was forced to leave the Diddy and start working where I do now. And it feels like now I've been slapped across the face with a cold, hard hit of reality. The bartending world is not all roses, my friend. You will have jobs that you think suck. You will have clientele that you think suck. And you will have coworkers that you think suck. And worst of all, you will think that your boss sucks. And I know I think I sound naive almost, that it took me bartending for 2 different bosses at 3 different bars until I finally worked at a place where I realized your boss and your coworkers and your support system can absolutely let you down. Because I have been lucky enough to work in places that have done nothing but build me up. I have been knocking on wood ever since I entered this industry. Whenever I mention to somebody that I have only worked with good people and for good people, I guess I didn't knock on enough wood because the run has ended. And if last week wasn't hint enough, where I work has taken its toll on my mental health. And it sucks, man, because you would think I would be happy as I sit here talking to you, 3 hours away from my first training shift at a new location at a new job. I'm not excited. I'm not happy. I'm not. I don't know, man. I'm worried it's going to be more of the same. The only reason I'm going is because it looked like an opportunity to make money. And the thing is, like, if I was suffering this much but making money, dude, I might fucking deal with it. Because fine, fucking, so be it. Then I at least know what I'm getting paid for. But I feel this way and I'm not making money. Making less than I ever made before. Doing what I do. So, hey, if I at least make more money at this new job, I can deal with it a little bit more. You know what I mean? I know you know what I mean, man. Because there's so many of us out there that just deal with so much as long as it pays us enough. Is that right? I don't know. That's life. So I started training today. And I've like I said, I've been feeling rough, man. A lot of anxiety. And I think the question that comes up the moment I say that to a lot of you out there is why? Why? What's up? What's going on? What's going on, Will? Why do you feel that way? And can I say that question in and of itself is kind of a part of it. Because trust me, I wish that I could formulate one or two sentences right now that would explain exactly why. But here's the thing. If I could formulate those two sentences, I could probably get started on fixing myself a lot sooner than I have let this go on for. I think that's the thing with a lot of people that feel the way that I feel is we don't know. See, I've dealt with straight up depression and anxiety, and I in my life there've been those two words have been attached to each other every step of the way for me throughout life. Like there is no depression without anxiety. There is no anxiety without depression. They're just together. And sometimes it's one more than the other. Sometimes I will just feel like this fucking deep, gloomy, gray disparity that I can't kind of crawl out of, and it feels like I'm just moving through the thickest gelatinous jello that has ever existed in the world, and I as fast as I want to run away from whatever's behind me, I can only move about 1 millimeter per minute, and it's that paralyzing feeling that makes you feel like you can't even fucking breathe anymore, so much as even take a step. And I feel when I'm thinking that way during my days, that's when my dreams are more during night, and that's when I have the worst nightmares. It's like I have these reoccurring dreams where I just get stuck and I can't move and I can't breathe, and every step takes so much work and effort and fatigues me so much, and I wake up tired and fatigued and already just not ready for the day. And I always wonder, like, are these normal dreams? Like, do other people dream like this? Do you guys dream like this ever? And if you do, and you didn't know that anyone else did, dude, I do. I do. And you are not alone, okay? If you ever wake up from a dream and start breathing in just to know that you're capable of breathing in, you're not the only person that does that. I I've I've always had a struggle with this kind of anxiety and depression. I just always struggled with those two things, and for some reason, regardless of the fact that I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that I suffered from anxiety and depression, I knew a couple of things. I knew I wanted to try to be a bartender. I knew I wanted to try to be a DJ. And the moment I started realizing that I was obsessed with listening to podcasts, I knew I wanted to try to host a podcast. Can I tell you what are 3 things that you should probably not do if you suffer from depression and anxiety? You should probably not bartend. You should probably not DJ. And you should probably not podcast. But if I'm digging through all the negativity, ultimately, that's exactly why you should do all 3. Or honestly, what I mean by that is do exactly what you think would give you the most anxiety. I once heard that if your dreams don't scare you, you probably need some new dreams. The worst anxiety I've ever felt has been behind the bar or while I've been DJing or while trying to troubleshoot technical issues with my podcast. Bar none. Maybe it's because I care about it most. You know what? Bartending, it's not. I don't think with bartending it's because I care about it most. I think it's because of the exposure that I have towards the public. Man, part of it for DJing is a mix of the two. For me, maybe I would feel even more anxiety behind the bar if I actually cared about being a mixologist. Remember, I've told you guys, I don't care about being a mixologist. I don't care about being making the greatest fucking cocktail ever. I care that you think that you had a good time, and that's kind of it. You're not gonna catch me infusing drinks and smoking wood and doing all this shit for you to drink one cocktail and take a picture of it and post it onto your TikTok. No, I don't give a fuck about that. I do care that you had a good time, though. Which is probably why I care more about DJing than bartending. I kind of wanted to... Let me broach this subject like this. Last week, I was scrolling through my notes, and I honestly was uninspired by anything I wrote down to talk about anything for an entire episode. And it was because I was feeling so defeated by what had happened to me the weekend before. And I asked myself, well, should I just fucking talk about that? Can I just have an episode where I just fucking talk about, you know, not feeling good, not feeling happy, instead of just being pissed, just feeling let down or whatever. And, I decided to, and I made an entire episode about not just that night, but just in general, times I've had to like kick people out or needed my bouncers or my relationship with bouncers in general. I got some good feedback from that. It made me feel just like, all right, cool. Like I don't always have to be happy or pissed. Last week I was kind of lost a little bit, and I expressed that in an episode, and thank you guys for just being cool about it. And it's kind of why I'm okay this week to be kind of just down. And I wanted to talk about bartending while struggling with depression and anxiety, because I can tell you that I've been dealing with depression and anxiety since I was in high school. And yeah, there's a big part of me that told me, probably don't pursue bartending if you suffer from this. And for sure, there have been moments where that line of thinking has been proven right. I've had moments behind the bar, in the office, late at night, or the next day, just feeling like I am mentally inequipped for this job. You guys know about imposter syndrome? I think I've talked about this on this podcast, but I for sure have that. Places keep hiring me, and then when I get hired and I feel like, oh shit, I got one over on them, and then I realize, oh my god, I get to this place like the horny rat. I'm like, god, fuck. Then I get to this place that I'm at right now, and I'm like, oh my god, they don't know anything. The imposter syndrome kind of battles with me a little bit there, because it's like, I thought I didn't think I was shit, but then god damn, I work somewhere like where I'm at now, and I'm like, they no one cares here. Wow. And even if you work somewhere good, man, can I tell you guys about my worst day on the job? I think today's a good day to talk about that, because it's contradictory to pretty much everything I've been talking about. Hey, it's time for my worst day on the job. And here's the thing. Last week, we talked about my craziest day on the job. That wasn't my worst day, because I dealt with it. I kind of knew what was going on. It sucked, but I was in charge. I felt like I was in charge. Even though I had lost control, I felt like I was in charge. My worst day on the job is the day that I felt the most anxiety ever behind the bar. And it just so happened to be my first day going live. And what live means is you are no longer training. You are now working your shift as a bartender. Go. So this was the story of the first day that I was ever a bartender. I finished a week of training, had been studying these cocktails day in and day out. And I worked somewhere where our cocktails were intricate as fuck. I mean 7, 8 steps, you know? These cocktails involved 3 different types of sweeteners, maybe 4 sometimes. It involved aquafaba or egg whites, or it involved, these were, if you wanted a nice cocktail in Astoria, you came to our bar. And we have a good cocktail program. And I thought, this is how all bars are. It wasn't until I worked anywhere else that I realized, wow, I worked somewhere strict as fuck. In fact, I've met people in my industry that have heard where I learned or where I used to work and asked me, oh, was your GM Bobby Burns? And I would say, yeah. And they would say, holy shit, he was an asshole. But if you could work for him, you could work for anybody. That was my first foray into bartending. This dude didn't let me bartend until I read like 3 different books. And he told me, like, the reason that I'm giving you such a hard time is because you're going to school right now. You went back to school. You're in college again to get your degree. So how much time are you going to spend in the restaurant industry? And I told him, I said, Bobby, I'm getting my degree in fucking music production and audio engineering. That means I'm going to be a starving ass motherfucking artist for years to come. And correct me if I'm wrong, but do you not have a college degree yourself? And is that degree not in poetry? So from one music college student to one poetry college student, give a guy a chance. And he did. Thank you, Bobby Burns, for giving me a chance. He made me read Imbibe. He made me read Whiskey Nation, or whatever the fuck that book is called. And I read some other book about pairing drinks with foods. Was it necessary? No. Did it help? Sure. But he was putting me through the ringer. And I did it. And he let me try, finally, to be a bartender. Put me through the fucking ringer, man. And on that first day, after a week of memorizing these cocktails, the first day, he puts out a new menu with brand new cocktails that I had never seen before in my life. And suddenly, on that day, the moment everyone got out from work, everyone walked into that bar and started ordering these brand new cocktails, including my own friends that came to visit me on my first day. I have never, since that first day of work, ever been more in the weeds than from that moment on. Like, I was lost. People were ordering cocktails I had never heard of before, that I had to read the recipe of on the spot, and it was all 6, 7, 8 steps involving egg whites, involving mints, involving dry shakes and double shakes, and I was drowning. I can count on one hand the amount of times in my life I've felt as much anxiety as I felt on that day. I was the one and only bartender with a full bar and a server that had every table full. And every single person in that establishment was ordering drinks like a madman. And it was up to me and only me to make each and every single one of those cocktails. Cocktails I have never seen before in my entire life. Cocktails I had to make for the first time on the spot. On the first day that I ever bartended live in my entire life. I wanted to walk out of the bar. I wanted to run away. I wanted to say that I wanted to quit would be incorrect phrasing because I was not going to text, email, or call anybody to let them know that I was quitting. No. I wanted to just leave. I wanted to not just walk. I wanted to sprint as far away from that bar as possible. And I wanted it to be so that I never saw anyone that I ever worked with in that establishment ever again, because I felt like this was proof that I could not do this. And I was a fool. I was an idiot. I was a pathetic failure to think that I ever could. I was defeated, man. My first day at work. And you know what my coworker told me? He told me that there was going to be a moment like that. While he was training me, he told me, I promise you, there's going to be a moment where you're doing this and you're going to want to run away. And in that moment, because you're not a piece of shit, because you're actually a good person, you're going to start thinking about every other person that works there besides you and what would happen if you run away. And you're going to realize, holy shit, everything would have to shut down. Because a bar with no bartender, regardless if you have the best bar back, food runner, cook, host, no bartender, no bar. He said you're going to be in this moment and you're going to realize, holy shit, if you don't figure it out, if you don't dig yourself out, everyone drowns. And then that's the worst anxiety of all. See, because I'm used to letting myself down. I mean, that's been my life. I don't want to let anyone else down. And so on that first day that I bartended live, the first time I ever was a real bartender, I wanted to run away. But I didn't. I probably felt more anxiety on that day than I had ever felt in my entire life. I thought I had gone through shit, but earlier on in my life, and then I realized, oh, nothing. I was just really dramatic. I was just a dramatic fucking person. In fact, I still think I'm a dramatic fucking person. But I do have a fucking high anxiety job, at least now. Before, I was just a little bitch. That first day on the job, I wanted to run away, and I didn't. I powered through it. Ended up making these drinks. A couple hours later passed, and I felt like I survived. And I had to really ask myself, is bartending the type of job that somebody that suffers from anxiety should have? And it's like, there's nothing in my life that I want that isn't going to not cause me anxiety. I like bartending. I like some aspects of bartending. Pretty much every other aspect of it brings me anxiety. I find a lot of joy in DJing. DJing brings me a lot of anxiety. I like what I'm doing right here, right now, talking to you guys. I like recording this podcast for you guys right now. This, not right now, but in the past, has been a source of anxiety. And I talked about on this very podcast that by the end of this year, my goal is to do at least 5 minutes on stage of stand-up. You don't think that's going to give me anxiety? That's the main reason that no one ever wants to do this ever is because of how much anxiety they're afraid it's going to give them, cause them, punish them with. I get it. I just seem to live this life where everything I want to do requires suffering a certain amount of anxiety to successfully do it. So I better get better at dealing with anxiety. You know, I never made this connection between what I do as a bartender and the fact that I'm normally in a depressive state of mind. To me, it's normal to not be happy. Like happy is abnormal. Unhappy, we're all good. Everything's fine. Fine means blah, right? No one's actually fine. Somehow the definition of fine has been twisted into meaning everything's burning down around me and I'm still standing. And in that sense of the definition, unfortunately, I feel like far too many of us are doing just fine. My girl once asked me or wondered out loud with me if perhaps, besides the mental fucking punishment that being a bartender that works till 4 a.m. every night takes from like the clientele or the customers or whatever. She wondered if there was something actually like kind of more scientific behind it too that added to it. Stick with me. Because I actually kind of never thought about this. But when I worked at my last bar, the Diddy, and I was there like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I would be there till 4 a.m. My shift would be 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. And do you know what it was to work from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. during like from fucking November to February? I would literally be commuting to work in the pitch dark, in frigid weather, and coming home in like the pitch dark, frigid weather. I never thought anything about it. And it was my girl that was like, you work during the darkest hours and you literally get no sunlight. Aside from the like mental anguish that could cause you, you're literally getting no vitamin D, which is kind of important to, I don't know, health. I don't know. Someone out there that knows about vitamin D, you tell me how important is the D in your life? Is D important in your life? Should I have more D in my life? Someone out there that's well versed in the D, that knows all about the D, that has swallowed so much about D, just been like just so deep in the D in their life. Tell me. Am I devoid of D? Because my girl seems to think so. And I don't seem to disagree about the void of the D. I don't disagree about the D. You know what I mean? See, if you see me about the D, then what I mean is that I might need some more D in me. Not me. But there's something to be said there about not ever working in the sunlight. Because let me tell you, I worked one brunch shift ever at this current job that I'm at. And I swear to God, I was walking on sunshine. Whoa. I was walking on sunshine. Wow. I was on 2 hours sleep going to a brunch shift, but because there was daylight outside and I knew that I wasn't going to be there till fucking 4 a.m, I was walking on sunshine. Wow. That'll feel good. I was, woo. So I kind of get it. This notion of working in the dark all the time, yeah, actually probably took its toll on me too. And here's a point that I've kind of been skirting around not wanting to admit to. But every time that I would work and perhaps imbibe a little too much, drink a little too much on the job, and the next day I would worry. About, did I take that person's order right? Did that person ever get their fries? Did I ever give that person their third shot of tequila? Did I do the money right? Did everyone get their tips correctly? Did I close everything down right? Is everything locked up fine? And let me tell you, more often than not, everything was fine. But you want to know the one thing that was almost never fine? Is my head, dude. Because when you drink, you know, when I Googled side effects of drinking, and every time no matter how I worded it, the first thing that would pop up would be anxiety. Made sense, man. As I take a drink. You know, I've heard about these bars that, you know, there's bars that don't give coworker or someone that works there a shift drink. Shift drink being a drink that you can have at the end of your shift on the house. There are bars that don't allow an employee to have a shift drink, and it's, you know, usually because the owner is cheap. But I did read an article once a couple of years ago about the idea of abandoning shift drinks, because what tends to happen at a bar is that whenever you deal with any depression or anxiety or anger or frustration or whatever you deal with during your shift, you tend to hold it in and just look forward to the end of your shift, because at the end of your shift you get to clock out and have your drink. And your body starts just looking forward to the drink. And somehow the shift drink became an unfortunate catalyst towards people relying on a drink to feel good. Because you wait till the end of your shift to clock out and have your drink. And when you have your drink, you can just decompress and bitch to your coworkers and tell them how you got tipped shit and how someone treated you rudely and someone was an asshole to you, and you do it all over a beer or a cocktail or a whiskey neat. And the shift drink becomes your source of getting it out. And there are places that are getting rid of their shift drink, not just to save money, but to allegedly not be this conducive to relying on alcohol for feeling good. Something to think about. Coming from someone that has been thinking about their relationship with alcohol for a couple of months now. However, I've also been thinking about my relationship with my current career as a bartender. Feeling unappreciated where I am. Feeling like I'm about to walk into somewhere that I'm going to not enjoy. Literally in about an hour and a half. Yeah, I haven't been super happy with where my life has been in the past couple of weeks, but honestly, I'm not that worried. I'm all right. Not great, but I'm all right. I got some bad news earlier today that I won't go into detail about. But I will say this. Mental health is real. And I saw something on Instagram today that really rocked me. And without going into details about like a name or anything like that, or I will just say that there's a regular of mine from a bar I used to work at that is gone too soon. And it's a reminder that everything that I'm talking about right now, it matters. It's real. Mental health, depression, anxiety, and whatever you do in your life and how you deal with it. I remember running into this dude during opening day of the Mets after the pandemic, and I was his bartender for so long, and he was a regular of mine, and we ran into each other at Citi Field, and he was just so happy to see me, just huge smile, huge hugs. I introduced him to my girl, and I'm pretty sure he met some of my friends right there on Shea Bridge. And he had never really seen me like rocking like a bandana, like in the Tupac style that I like to do. And he was just, he loved it. He loved it. He was like, he just kept saying, "I love you. I love this. I love it. I love it. And every time I saw this guy enter my bar, he had the hugest smile. And it's why I knocked on wood earlier. And I said that I had worked at great spots before, and I knew him from a great spot I worked at earlier, and he was one of the reasons that made it great. And it's because he always walked in there with a smile. And no matter how I felt, I'd always smile back. And it was genuine. Because I liked seeing him. He's no longer with us. I will miss him. And what I talk about is real, guys. I just want to say I wish I knew more about him. Wish I could have helped more. But at the end of the day, don't we all? Rest in peace, my dude. You were loved and you were always appreciated. I didn't know. Last week I didn't know what the fuck to talk about. Because I was so down about what happened to me that I didn't feel like there's anything else on my mind besides what happened to me. So I said, fuck it, talk about what happened to you. It's probably not that fun. It's probably not that entertaining, but just talk about it. And I did. And you guys are great about it, and I thank you. And it's what made me do this today. Because I didn't know what the hell to talk about again. Because if anything, I felt worse this week than I did last week. And I found out about this news about an hour before I started recording this show. And if anything, it told me this is exactly what you're supposed to talk about this week. This week I felt so just defeated, man. And I didn't have any answers as to why exactly. I just was. You ever feel like that, guys? You ever find yourself somewhere and if someone were to ask you to explain to them why you're there, you'd probably fail that quiz. Sometimes that makes you feel worse too, you know? Like, hey, you look really sad. What's up? Why? And everything in your body wants to tell them a reason why. Because everything in your body thinks a conversation as to why you feel bad would probably be beneficial to you. But for some reason, there's nothing in your body that is able to produce an answer at that moment. You know, like, I want nothing more than to be able to communicate to everybody in every moment why I feel the way that I do. And for some reason, although I'm this guy that people say is gifted with words, I can never express why I feel the way I do. I'll figure it out someday. Someday, someday I'll figure it out. And then when that shit clicks, watch out. But until then, thanks for listening, man. And until then, to all my friends out there that I know are there for me, thank you too. Because here's the thing, I promise you this is not the intention of this episode, but it is what is exactly going to happen as a result of this episode. I promise you, because I am a lucky person. At the end of this, I want you guys to know, I want you guys to realize that I am not spoiled. None of this is lost on me. I consider myself a lucky person. And the reason why I consider myself lucky is because of this. Is because I believe at the end of this episode, whenever this goes out, whenever people start listening to it, I will start getting an influx of texts from all my friends to make sure that I'm okay. It's just the way my friends are. I am lucky that I have great friends. I want any of my friends that are listening to this now to not think of this as some type of fucking, call to action. No. I have great fucking friends. Life is just tough sometimes. I hope that you guys out there have a support system that can help you like I do. I know that's not the best advice, but the only thing I can think about is that first day that I had bartending, where I wanted to run away so bad. And all I could think about was, what would happen if I ran away? And the thing is, like, if I ran away and never looked back, I guess I'd be fine. I didn't want to let other people down. And ultimately, wow. You know what? Ultimately, I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to end this episode with some fucking great quote or something. But I can't. I just love anyone out there that's listening. I love my friends for being my friends. I'm going through some shit, but I actually feel good about it because no matter what I'm going through, I know one thing. I want to see tomorrow. And the next day. And the next day after that. And as many days as I can. As humanly fucking possible. And whatever I can do to smile on those days, I'm going to try really hard. It's kind of all I've got for now. Follow me. I'm Will Bryant. TikTok, Twitch, YouTube. All that shit. I'm Will Bryant. I love you guys.